brings us all together. It fulfills us. It's part of what defines us. It plays a part in nearly everything we do, and we want it to be great. That's what the NuWave Cooking Club is all about. Join us, and we'll show you just how fast, easy, and economical it is to make delicious meals for your family, friends, and anyone who sits at your table. In fact, even if you're a novice in the kitchen, we'll have you cooking like a pro in no time. Welcome to the club. Let's get started. So now if you know NuWave, you know it's for the NuWave oven. We've sold 10 million of those around the world. And what NuWave did, we went back and we made it better. This is the NuWave Primo oven grill. We made a sleeker design with more programming and a very powerful non-stick indoor grill. I'm gonna grill a beautiful tri-tip. This is beautiful black Angus, nicely marbled with fat. It's a very simple dish, very traditional to put on the grill. In the meantime, I'm gonna make a dish that I've always made for my family in cold weather called Pomme Dauphinoise, or scalloped potatoes, if you will. It's a very simple dish. It takes only a few minutes to prep. It takes about 30 minutes to cook. So let's get started. So I'm gonna take the steak. I'm gonna take a few drops of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of oil, and you can see it's just cream. It's gonna help the dry rub stick a little bit. I'm also gonna put about a tablespoon of a traditional cayenne pepper hot sauce. And then I have this dry rub, but I always put more than I need when I do a dry rub because I wanna make sure it gets all over the meat and I don't miss any spots. And now we're gonna start the Pomme Dauphinoise, very simple. You get a towel, I pull a couple out. You're probably gonna need about 6 or 7 of these russets for this dish. Now, this whole 10-inch roasting pan should feed, with Pomme Dauphinoise or scalloped potatoes full, should feed 6 people, which I think is good because it only takes about 20 minutes to prepare, and I've just fed 6 people, so that's good. So I get them on my towel, get a little water off of them. Obviously, I keep them in the water so they don't turn brown. And then watch how easy this is, guys. Take the pan, right? Take a garlic clove, whole. Don't chop it, okay? And just start rubbing it inside. It's a very traditional way to do this dish. I'm not crazy about a lot of garlic with potatoes, but I really do like the oil that comes out and the subtle flavor of garlic. And then I take a little bit of this butter out of the fridge about 20 minutes, so it's not rock hard, but it's also not melting. And I just want to coat the inside, leave some chunks of butter around. This is just so I get a little flavor on the bottom, but also will help it from sticking. It doesn't have to be neat, it just has to be done, right? And that's that. So, in the bottom, I put a little pepper, because if we're gonna season the top, why wouldn't you season the bottom, right? Okay? And just a little touch of salt. And all I do is I take my time, and then I'll know if I need to have, if it's necessary to slice more. And if it is, we slice more. It's not a big deal. So use your hand as a guide, take your time. There's nothing worse than planning a nice dinner for your friends and family and then nicking your finger with a knife. It just kind of takes the winds out of your sails. And it happens to chefs too, so. Take the potatoes. Now, these don't have to be perfect, just slightly concentric. Just get them around in a circle, because we're gonna pack this in. These are gonna cook down. They're gonna weigh down on themselves. They're gonna collapse. And listen, in the restaurant, we get very meticulous about how we put them in the pan and has to be perfectly, every potato has to be cut the same size. That's in the restaurant. This is at home. I'm more interested in sitting with my family in a glass of wine or a bottle. And this is all we're gonna do. I'm gonna get a little more in there. And now, watch this. Just a little bit of cream, not a lot. This is about a quarter cup. I try to get it around, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, a little salt, a little black pepper. Some people use white pepper, that's fine too. I like a lot of pepper in mine. And then Parmesan, and just go right over the top. Doesn't have to be a ton. Doesn't have to be perfectly layered in there. Just has to be done. We just go around like that, okay? Grab some more of your potatoes. Again, this is very rustic. I'm not concerned about appearance. I'm concerned here about super flavor. And that's exactly what I'm gonna give you guys in this recipe. So again, I've got the first layer of potatoes in with the cream and the cheese, now putting another layer of raw potatoes on top. And these are gonna weigh down on each other. And this dish is actually gonna come out really, really fantastic. Now again, if you wanna go a little higher, it's gonna cook down, it's fine. Okay, look, a little more cream, so basically another quarter cup, right? Not a lot. Now remember, it may look in the bottom like there's a little too much cream. You see that pool in there? But that's gonna mix with the starch from the potato and the cheese, and it's gonna thicken, and it's not gonna be runny. So let's get some more cheese on here, because there's nothing better than cheese in the winter. So the top layer, I put a little more cheese than I did on the second layer, only because I like that burnt, crusty cheese. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And a little more pepper on the top, just like this. And for me, just a little extra virgin olive oil. This goes right on the top, see it fits perfectly. And eventually the steak will be on the bottom. So now you know how that works. It's engineered this way. Put the dome on. I'm gonna set this for 375 for 40 minutes. There it is. Then I hit start. And I'll show you. So now what I'm gonna do is this double rack, I'm gonna be able to finish my potatoes while I finish cooking the tri-tip. So basically I'm just gonna take this off. I'm gonna set it here for a minute. Now be careful, because this is gonna be very hot. And what we're gonna do is, this is the tri-tip that we marinated earlier. I don't know if you can hear that sizzle. We have an indoor grill that really works. So now I've browned my tri-tip on both sides. So now it's ready to finish cooking. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my scalloped potatoes on this rack so I can cook two things at once for the last 10 minutes. Also, I use the integrated temperature probe that the Primo comes with. This helps me cook any meat, chicken, pork, perfectly to the temperature I want it. And I set this probe for 120, that's medium rare, that's how I like it. So once this internal temperature hits 120, the unit will turn to warm. So even if I have it set for 2 hours, the minute it gets to 120 in the middle, that's it, the unit stops working, it goes into warm, and we're gonna never overcook our food again. So let's get our potatoes back in. Goes right over the top of our probe. Make sure it's insecure. Put the lid back on. Now the programming couldn't be simpler. I have my default temperature at 360. I wanna go to 375. I'm gonna set my time for 10 minutes, and I'm gonna set my probe, default is 140, I'm gonna drop it down to 120, and I'm gonna hit start. When we come back, I'm gonna slice you up the most amazing winter night dinner. Let's take off the dome. I've got my beautiful potatoes on my double rack. So I take these out. I'll show you to do that in a second. Now here's the integrated temperature probe I was telling you about. The inside of this meat is cooked perfectly to 120. So I'm just gonna take this out. It's a little hot, be careful. We'll leave it off to the side for now. I'm gonna take this beautiful piece of tri-tip. So very simple, sharp knife. I like really, really thin slices on my tri-tip. I just think it goes with the cut of meat. It's more tender that way. You can slice the whole thing. You can plate this up in portions. Here's what I like to do. I like to cut it like this and get it on the plate neatly. Your hands get dirty with this because of that rub, but that's okay. Now this will not be just for me. This will be for the family as well. Now the potatoes come out just like this. I'm gonna set them off to the side. And watch how I plate this. This is the scalloped potatoes we made earlier. You see how beautiful they are on the top? That's the best part for me, is the crusty cheese on the top. And that's it, guys. Look, we have this beautiful sauce in the bottom, comes out. A little bit of olive oil on top of the steak, just for moisture. A little pinch of salt. Want to get fancy for the neighbors? We put a piece of parsley on there. And that's our roasted tri-tip, our scalloped potatoes, and the NuWave Primo oven grill. Come back to the cooking club and see us soon. You can make the stuff at home, send us pictures to social media, and maybe we'll post one.